Good afternoon, everybody. Today, we will discuss on use of live fish feed organism. Live food organism includes basically plants and the animals. Plants mean basically phytoplanktons and animals means zooplanktons considered here. That lives grazed upon by economically important fishes. Phytoplanktons are generally eaten by zooplanktons. Thus, phytoplanktons forms the basis of the food chain in an aquatic ecosystem. The live food organism constitutes the most valuable resource for aquaculture. And most of the fish and shellfish larvae in nature feed on small phytoplanktonic and zooplanktonic organisms. However, natural fish food organisms are usually not abundant in clear pond water. If you see the pond water that is clear, that contain less or negligible amount of plankton, and if you see that pond water, the pond water is greenish in color, that contain high abundant in plankton. And with the help of sachidix that contain alternative striation of the dark band and the white band, and that determine how much plankton's presence in the water body. Now, in the natural food web, zooplankton constitutes a major part of the diet for marine fish larvae, and it is generally believed that copypods can meet the nutritional requirements of fish larvae. Now, in the wild, fish eat a range of foods and their diet dependent upon availability of the food in the particular environment. However, when the ornamental fish are maintained in aquarium, it may be tanks, it may be ponds, and such type of the water body, there is utmost necessity of balanced nutrition in the natural food and artificial diets for their maintenance, their growth, their reproduction, and their health. So live food organisms contain all the nutrients such as essential proteins, lipids, carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and fatty acids, and hence are commonly known as living capsules of nutrition. And sometimes live food can be freeze-dried and used for feeding of ornamental fish. Now, the natural live feeds are classified into several categories such as plankton, periphyton, macrophytes, benthos, and other categories also. Now, the planktons are microscopic. They can move passively or weakly or with the help of water current. On the basis of their size, the planktons are classified into altoplankton, nanoplankton, microplankton, macroplankton. The altoplankton size is 0.5 to 1 mm, whereas the nanoplankton 10 to 50 mm. The microplankton, that's a 50 to 500 mm, and the macroplankton greater than 500 mm. And this is a plankton nets, and with the help of such type of the plankton net, we can measure the zooplanktons. This is the plankton nets, and at the end of the bottom, there is a container. The container collected the planktons, and then with the help of microscope and different measurement units, we can determine what are the kinds of the planktons. Now, the phytoplanktons, that's the plant in origin that consists of chlorophyll. They are the microscopic autotrophic algae, and the planktonic algae again classified based on their pigmentation and the food storage, such as chlorophyceae, bacillariophyceae, mixophyceae, and euglynophyceae. The first one, chlorophyceae. The chlorophyceae, also known as green algae, due to green pigmented, that is a chlorophyll, and they are again classified such as unicellular free-floating non-colony forming, such as Chlamydomonas chlorella. Then unicellular colony forming, such as Volvox, and multicellular unbranched filamentous, such as Spirogyra, and multicellular non-filamentous, such as Pediastem. Now, the second one, Bacillariophyceae. They are also known as diatoms. They are golden brown color. Why? Due to presence of chlorophyll seed and carotenoid pigment, beta carotene, and xanthophylls. And they are again classified such as centric diatoms. They are rounded and radially symmetrical, such as Cyclotella. And another category, pennate diatoms, They are elongated structure, bilateral symmetrically, such as Fragillaria. So here. Now, cyanophyceae, they are also known as mixophyceae. They are also known as blue-green algae. Presence of chlorophyll A, B, carotenes, xanthophyll, phycobilins with a gelatinous seed. And these planktons are not commonly used in ornamental fish feeding. Here you see this is a nostocs, and as have a good nutritive value. The spirulina, actually this is a layer of the spirulina here mentioned, can be used for one of the ingredients for the artificial feeding purpose. Now, Euglenophyceae, also known as euglenoids, green color due to presence of chlorophyll A, B, beta carotene, xanthophylls, and these are unicellular flagellates, mostly free living. These are the euglena here. And among these all phytoplanktons, chlorella is important. You see here, this is a water body that contains greenish in color. Why it is a greenish in color? Due to presence of large amount of chlorella. And this chlorella is important for ornamental fish feeding and zooplankton production. Now the zooplankton, zoo is coming from Greek word. It's animal, and heterotrophic, cannot produce their own foods, depends on others, consume other plants or animals as food. They are also microscopic and free swimming animals, and they are represented by a wide array of taxonomic, but here we mention some specialized forms such as the Protozoa, Rotifera, and Crustacea. Other than this category, so many animals are present in the world that are under the category of the zooplanktons. But here we shall focus on Protozoa, Rotifera, and Crustacea. The first one, Protozoa. Protozoa obviously microscopic, soft-bodied, serve ideal life food for ornamental fish. As for example, this is a Paramecium, and this is a Vorticella. Now, Infusoria, that refers to microscopic single cell animalcules belonging to the class Ciliata of Protozoa. They are minute in size, soft-bodied, and nutritionally very rich, and therefore serve ideally as a starter diet, for early stage of fish larvae. That is important. Now the Rotifera. Slow-moving rotifers are most important for culture and seed production for ornamental fish farming. As for example, this is Brachionas, Keratella, and Philina. And Brachionas is the most popular live food because of its high nutritive value, small size, worldwide distribution, fast multiplication, and easy adaptability to captive culture. And next, Crustacea. The Crustacea, how the Crustacea are identified? By the presence of appendages, but the appendages are typically biramous, and presence of two pair of antennae. That is the most distinguished features. And important Crustacea such as Cladocerans. The Cladocerans basically the point water content, Daphnia, Bosmina, Moina, and that are commonly known as water flea. This is a Daphnia, this is a Bosmina, and this is a Moina. And then copypods, free swimming, abundant in fish and marine habitat, occupy important place in the aquatic food chain, as for example, Cyclops. And then ostracods, this is a bivalve Crustacea. You see here, this is ostracods, bivalve Crustacea with a laterally compressed body, usually known as seed shrimps. They are oval or bean-shaped, found in pools, streams, especially in shallow water where aquatic weeds or algae are much abundant, such as cypress. Now, Anostraca, it's a brine shrimp. That's a Artemia salina, and most acceptable live feed for ornamental fish, contain all essential fatty acid and significant concentration of vitamins and carotenoids in addition to protein content. Now, why the zooplanktons are important? Zooplankton is required as a fast food for many cultured fish. For others, it contributes to faster growth and higher survival. And larvae of the fish cannot feed artificial supplement feed. All of you know that the larvae of the fish, the digestive system is a poor developed, that is no enzymatically functions, so they consume the live foods. With the help of enzymes of the consumed foods, they can easily digest it. Now they require small size live foods for the nutrition. Live foods are easily digestible, protein-rich diet for fish. Now, another category, bacterioplankton. Bacterioplankton, free-floating bacteria. They are not important live food for ornamental fish in captive condition. Periphyton also microscopic organism which grow attached on materials submerged in water. They are not important live food for ornamental fish in captive condition. Macrophytes, also microscopic plants, confine themselves to shallow euphotic zone of the water bodies, not important live food for ornamental fish. Now the benthos. Benthos, the assemblies of the organism inhabiting in the bottom. So marked diversity upon the change of the depth and the properties of the sediments. Some species of the crustacea, isopods, here you see chironomid larvae, oligochaetes worm, tubifex, hemipterans, water bugs, coleopterans such as the caddisflies, dipterans, true flies, mosquito larvae, mollusca, that constitute a bulk of benthic fauna. Its larval forms are good live food for ornamental fishes. And others category. There are so many others miscellaneous items available in the nature, such as white worm, such as earthworm, such as the eggs of ants, and other eggs also. That's also serves for live foods for the ornamental fish feeding purpose. Now, what are the source of the live feeds? It may be cultured from the nature. It may be, it may be captured from the nature, or it may be cultured. Basically, semi-intensive culture or the mass culture system. Now, the source of the live foods, the first one is the natural collections. You see here, the planktons are collected by planktonates from the natural sources. You see here, they're collected from the natural sources. Artemia can be collected from natural marine water source, and tubifex worms that can be collected from the sewage drain. This is a drain water, and this is a collected tubifex. And now the production of the semi-intensive culture system, a combination of the organic manures and inorganic fertilizer that is preferred in ponds for natural feed production. That's when in a pond, some fishes are cultured with the help of the cow dungs or other organic manures and inorganic manures. The plankton growth should be maintained. With the growth of the phytoplanktons, the zooplanktons are also larger in amount, and with the help of the zooplanktons, the population growth also of the fish that is also maintained. Now, the first one, it's a mass culture of the live foods, culture under control condition for its regular availability. It's a culture of infusoria. Culture of infusoria mainly dependent on some very basic material such as the banana, and it is possible in our home. So basically, the banana are collected from market, or it may be collected from your garden also. And then they are placed in a jar, the capacity near about 50 liters. Then add water, and kept in cool place, and without disturbing for 2 days. Now water turns when yellow color, due to decomposition of the banana, and foul smell also arises. But one thing is important, the lids should be replaced by mosquito nets. You know, if the lids are open, then the mosquito lay their eggs, and actually these are the breeding grounds for the mosquito. So a film of transparent light yellowish color when appears, then slime on the water surface breaks up, disintegrates, and then harvest infusoria with the help of the plankton net, and then you can use in aquarium fish feeding purpose or other fish feeding purpose also. Now the culture of the crustacea. The culture of the crustacea done here, cemented culture tanks, and maximum the capacity 500 or 1000 liter. And they after dried properly, then they are filled with water, and then fertilization with groundnut oil cake at the rate of 70 ppm. ppm means 1 mg per 1000 ml concentration. Single superphosphate at the rate of 20 ppm. Urea at the rate of 8 ppm. Then inoculated with moina. That's when you collected moina from the natural sources, and then you put such type of the organism in this tank. And what are the ratio? 40 to 50 individual per liter. And they attain peak density within 5 to 7 days, 20,000 to 50,000 individuals. And then you harvest with the help of plankton nets, and you can use such type of the planktons in aquarium purpose or any kinds of the aqua farming purpose also. Now the culture of the Artemia. That is interesting. Collected commercially available Artemia cyst, and cyst can be hatched out under control condition for the production of Artemia. First one, step one, hydration of the cyst. Hydration of the cyst. Dry cysts are put in a container with water, and about 1 hour the cyst is hydrated and turns spherical. Now the hydrated cysts are then filtered by 100 mm maize silk cloth. Now step 2, removal of the cell. Removal of the cell, that is important step. 2 types of chemicals are available for this purpose, either sodium hypochlorite or bleaching powder. Chorion of the cyst is dissolved by the help of these chemicals, and the color of the cyst turns white. When the chorion is dissolved, then it turns white. Then step 3, hatching of decapsulated cyst. Decapsulated Artemia cysts are hatched in cylindrical FRP tanks that having capacity 5 to 500 liters, depending on your requirement. Now, the optimum water quality conditions required for hatching, such as temperature 27 to 30 degrees centigrade, pH 7.5 to 8.5, salinity 25 to 30 ppt parts per trillion, light 1000 lux, and dissolved oxygen saturation point. Now, the decapsulated cysts in the jar are stocked at the rate of 0.5 to 1 gram per liter, and vigorous aeration provided. You see here, the aeration done here. Vigorous aeration provided at the cone of the jar, and now the cyst hatch into nauplii in about 12 to 24 hours, depending on the strain of Artemia and quality of the cyst, and also dependent on water temperature. Now the last step, step 4, harvesting of the nauplii. The freshly hatched Artemia nauplii are harvested in 100 mm mesh net by taking advantage of their photostatic nature. It's a movement on the base of their light activity. Now, after collection, the nauplii are thoroughly washed and stocked in a container, salt water of similar salinity of the hatching jar. Then these nauplii are used for feeding of larvae and ornamental fishes purpose. And it is also used for hatchery also. Now, feeding of the ornamental, that is very important. Most commonly made error fish owners make is overfeeding fish. We do not observe the behavior of the fish. We think if we put more food, the fish will be healthy, will be safe. But it is our wrong idea. Choosing right food is the key factor in maintaining the health and long life of your pet. That is important. The sensible approach is open. The fish just give a small amount of food and keep observed to ascertain how quickly they consume it. That is important. We never follow this. Ornamental fish should be fed 4 to 5 times a day. Giving single large meal to fishes should be avoided. ছোট ছোট খাবার দিতে হবে। বড় খাবার দিলে সমস্যা অ্যারাইজ করবে। অল্প পরিমাণে খাবার দিতে হবে। বেশি খাবার দিলে নষ্ট হবে, পচে যাবে, জলের গন্ধ বেরোবে এবং ওয়াটার প্যারামিটার পরিবর্তন আসবে। Now, the live foods are called living capsules of the nutrition. I have already mentioned live food organisms contain all the nutrients such as essential protein, lipid, carbohydrate, vitamin, mineral, amino acids, fatty acid. Hence, they are commonly known as live capsule of the nutrition. In semi-intensive culture, by proper manuring and fertilizing, natural live food can be produced for feeding of fishes. And mass culture techniques can regularly supply live foods for culture and breeding of ornamental fishes. These are the reference books. With the help of these books, I have prepared my lecture, and the photographs which are mentioned in my presentation, basically they are copied from Google image. Thank you, everybody.